Hello and welcome to Gierok Farms. In today's video, we're going to be putting the duals on the 7810, getting ready for spring here. Hopefully by the time this video comes out, we're already in the fields and going hard at it. It's been kind of a late spring so far. It stayed cold for quite a long period of time. My dad, he's grabbing the skid steer right now, and we're going to pick up these duals and bring them over to the main shop.
Gets it fine-tuned, I guess you could say. We don't necessarily have to jack the tractor up, but we're gonna get that dual. So anyway, once we get the dual up to here, then the jack will raise it so that the holes line up here, because there's like a groove here that this here will set up into, and then it's a matter of spinning it so your holes line up. Some guys will take the bolt and one of the bolts and taper the bolt to get it started. I mean, there's a few tricks to this, but this would be axle mount. So here you got, you got another hub bolted to the axle, which is pretty much a strength, maybe not. This is cast, but it's all steel, connecting directly to the axle. Now, clamp-on duals, and we could probably show them later here. We could keep going here, but there's like an eye on every one of these with the long rods, and then it's just the rim. You don't have the center. So they're lighter, they're still good for pack and pile or some tillage, they're fine. These are just, it's a hardier version of it. Most guys today with duals will leave them on all the time. They cut hay with them and everything. Like chopping, we'll put a dual on the one side. I like that. That gives you a lot of support. It keeps it from sliding. Like when you're turning on those down.
Yeah, when's the first year you tried that? Was that last year? Or was
well, last year with you, yeah, since you've been. But when my 1066 was two-wheel drive, I used to do the whole time. Okay. And then what I'd do is ride the inside brake when you're going uphill or you need a little extra, and that would make that dual work a little harder, so you're not spinning up your field or spinning out. So yeah, it gave you support. Okay, we got to get our bolts out here. Now, I kind of like this. They got this like a little hidden toolbox here underneath the step here. So I got this pail in here, and then down in there besides I got this extra hitch that came with the tractor for some different tillage, and I log chain so it stays out of the way. Those parts we won't need now, but yeah, so all those bolts, that's for two, and just a washer and I think that's a metric bolt, I think. Anyway, we got a socket for it, so we're going to get that all ready. Pop that on there. They can be kind of heavy. Sometimes I'll use the pallet fork to help myself if I had to be myself. Okay, let's stand it up now. I think between the two of us. Okay, 1, 2. Okay. Just one guy kind of does the balance. Even the dust is sweating. Everything is so moist. It's nice that it warmed up. It really feels like spring now. Everything's gonna get green. How are we? Almost. If you look here, we're actually too tall. Well, I guess we can jack it up. Just go slow. Oh, right there. See what I mean? Now we got the fine. We're not lifting a whole tractor. We're just lifting some of the weight off to get the squat out of the tire. So you almost went a little too tall. So now you might have to let it down a little and then readjust again. Oop, oop. Okay, give it a half a, maybe not even. Maybe leave it right there. So you keep it from going backward then. Keep it in the groove. You know, you can see how it's coming. Almost there. They're real close now. Yeah, you don't want this to tip over on you or something. I mean, some guys maybe use a loader. This isn't too bad. Sometimes you can start a hole somewhere else, and on the side maybe even. Like right here might be closer. Yeah, so what'll happen is when it gets nice, there's going to be so many other things to do. We're still going to have our chores, and I'm going to have some manure to haul yet, and then there's always those things that happen that you don't plan whatever happens. So then we're just a little more prepared. A little more prepared. It's just we feel we do something every day, even though it's not always necessarily time yet. It just helps make farming more fun. So remember last fall, we put them on to 10, and after we put them on, I realized that they were backwards.
Oh yeah.
And I thought, why we have to readjust all them rods? But then, of course, we weren't going to change that. It was just for pack and pile. Didn't make any difference. It never would have made any difference. But then somebody commented on it. Why put them on backwards?
Yeah, I think the only way it would have made a big difference is if we were running down the road with it. Maybe it would have wore faster. But...
You know, sometimes you think about it, backing up on the pile because you go forward and then you got to back up that bank. Maybe having one backward gives you.
I think it actually made it nicer having it the tread the other way.
I think we just invented another way to do it.
Yeah, but we were wondering why the heck was that project taking so long, but we were so brushed with other things that we didn't even think it through.
No, it was fine.
But it worked out, yeah. I gotta spin the tractor around and then...
Yeah, so that went on pretty good. Yeah, so that's, imitate what we just did. Now the thing is here is I'm gonna lift this with the pallet fork, but one of the first years I did it, I ended up bumping the valve stem with the end of the pallet. So I had to fix the tire, but you went too far. Back on the other side. Tiny bit, tiny bit. Little tiny bit. Okay, that one's started.
this is a set for the 7405, and this would also work on is the 7510.
Found these duals on an auction. Yeah, I think these rods are for the 74 because we were packing pile last year. So then that's a clamp on. So there's like a rail in here. There's different styles of those depending on the brand. So it's almost like a kind of like a chain binder effect, so that you come over center. They're maybe a little bit kinked and bent already, but the rods, usually you can buy these rods at different lengths depending on how far this here piece is. This piece is actually welded into the dual.
And then for the 1066, those clamps are made for a circle pipe.
Yeah, there's like a round pipe in here. This is the T-bar. This is actually a better pattern. This probably costs more for them to put that in there. So the 7405, I got this side, and what I did is I just put some paint, one for each side, of course, and these rods are switched out. So between my 75 and 74, the hub in the center is set just slightly in a different spot. So I had to get longer rods. Once everything was on and adjusted and snug, and then what we did is weld it on. See, like International's rim is flat. So this insert goes in. Now John Deere's is tapered, so you can wedge this in there so tight you can't get them off. Guys would have to use a loader or other ways to get them off, or drive them around until they pop off by themselves. Hopefully you don't wreck something doing that. But so I welded these stops on. You can see that's all it is. So it can only go onto the rim so tight. So then there was for each side, so I did green paint here, and I don't know if I did gray or yellow or something for the other side. So then when I switch it to the, so what we were doing before the 78, we would pack pile with 74. So we have these shorter rods in. And then when I do tillage with the 75, I would switch these rods out. So I got a pail with the rods on. And so then they're all painted different colors. So one side might be set slightly different because of the way these were welded in. So we're not trying to readjust. We might only have to go like a half around with each rod once we turn it up to where the paint is. And then this is just a piece of old conduit for, just to give us leverage to lock them in. Just like a chain binder. These you can put on pretty quick. So you run them up on a block like we did there, but.
Yeah, you don't need any air tools, just
yeah, clamp them on. And then you want to always check them though afterwards, because you've had it where some of these are maybe let loose by themselves and you end up losing that out in the field or someplace. So they're good. My dad had clamp-ons. That's all we've ever grew up with, clamp-ons. It was just a cheaper dual and easy to flip on and off.
Well, that's it for putting on duals. Hope you guys enjoyed that. Hope you learned something if you've never been around anything like that. But we wanted to thank you guys for watching. By the time you see this, we'll probably already have been out in the field going at her.
Maybe have a beard gone, and yeah, we might have all kinds of things going on by then.
But if you guys are going to be out in the field, I wish you luck. And if you haven't already, make sure to like and subscribe and check out our other videos. We'll see you in the next one.
So something we noticed today, everything is sweating because it warmed up so quickly. All the cast here is just dripping. But you can see where my fluid levels are in all my tractors. Even the gas tanks and stuff and the fuel tanks, you can tell how full they are.